In the midst of a devastating war between the Mandalorians and the Sith, I have uncovered a vast conspiracy that reaches into the highest echelons of the New Republic and the Jedi. A truth so terrible, it threatens to push the galaxy to the brink. My name is Darth Atrociton, and along with a motley crew of rogues and renegades, who must put our differences aside, fighting for survival as fugitives in a hostile universe. With our enemies many and our allies few, we vow to expose the truth. For we have become more than just Sith, Jedi, or Mandalorian. For we are now the Defiant.
The great senatorial meeting hall was abuzz with the bickering voices of opposing arguments between the representatives of both the Outer Rim and the core worlds of the Galactic Republic. At the center of it all stood the podium of Chancellor Davar Javin, a regal-looking Zabrak who stood with poise and purpose. Standing beside him is the current Grand Master of the Jedi Order, one Halcyon Khan, whose analytical eyes scanned the immense hall.
Let us come to some order, my esteemed representatives. You will all have your say.
Our prime shipping lanes are becoming increasingly impassable, Chancellor Javin. Naboo has already lost over 1,000 freighter vessels to this blasted war. Our planetary economy cannot continue to sustain these kinds of export losses.
Be assured that we are doing everything possible to police the free trade freight lanes, but our deflection forces are spread increasingly thin.
And what of the Jedi in all this? I thought they were supposed to be the Insular. Now, if you ask me, they have been extraordinarily neglectful in their protection duties and have acted wholly irresponsible to their charges.
Please let us remain cordial, Senators. Might I remind the entirety of the Senate that the Jedi are mainly peacekeepers, not soldiers. However, to address Senator Stater's concerns, the Jedi High Council are quite aware of the precarious situations of the trade lanes and are launching increased probes to strengthen civilian escorts and security details. Now, our foremost concern is for the safety of all Republic citizens in the midst of this war between Korriban and Mandalore. All we ask is for your patience.
Over on another empty Senate pod stands a lone Jedi who is watching the proceedings. Master Tethian Stall brushes his hand against his beard as he takes in the quarrels of the various representatives. Suddenly, out of nowhere, one of the Senate pods floats out into the openness of the chamber. An attractive young Chiss woman, surrounded by her entourage, speaks up.
Are we not ignoring the rancor in the corner, Chancellor?
Very well, my dear, if you insist on forcefully taking the floor. The Senate hereby recognizes Senator Starry Avar of the Chiss Ascendancy.
Thank you, Chancellor. If we are to address the full ramifications of this war, we cannot continue to sit by in passivism. Now, on behalf of my constituents of the Chiss Ascendancy, we propose to forego neutrality. I think it's time the Republic chooses a side.
Order! Now we will have order!
If I may interject, Chancellor, with all due respect to Senator Vaughn, to forego neutrality would be to invite disaster. The Sith are the ancient enemies of the Jedi. I needn't remind you of the heinous acts of murder and genocide that they're capable of. No one in their sane mind would even suggest the Republic give aid to Coruscant. However, the Mandalorians aren't any better. For the most part, they're nothing more than chest-pounding barbarians who shoot first and ask questions never. We would do well to stay out of this conflict altogether.
Besides, my dear, neutrality was voted on and ratified by the greatest Senate chamber when the war started. It would be deemed as the breaking of a Senate-voted executive action to get involved now.
That is, unless someone hasn't already gotten involved.
This statement causes Master Stall to pay closer attention as he wondered where this particular line of inquiry was going.
I would ask that you clarify your meaning, Senator.
My people are tactical strategists, Chancellor Javin. It doesn't take a military genius to see that Mandalore has considerably upped its war machine capabilities. Some might even say unnaturally so.
You know something, she's right. If the intel reports are to be believed, those Sith dregs are getting turned into bantha fodder. The Mandalorians are sending them off with their tails between their legs.
Be that as it may, what is your wider implication here, Senator, if I may ask you?
Perhaps you'll find the answers when you launch your probes, Master Jedi. I'm sure the whole of the Senate will be anxious to hear your findings.
Grandmaster Khan crosses his arms somewhat impatiently as the young Chiss woman's pod casually floats back towards its place in the wider Senate holdings. Master Stall continues to watch from afar, now more intrigued than ever at the exchange. Noticing the tension that is quickly building up, Chancellor Javin moves to defuse the situation by making a motion to adjourn.
All right, I think we've had enough bickering for today.
Esteemed representatives, I make a motion to adjourn the chamber meetings for now. All representatives will convene again in 4 solar days to resume discourse. As Chancellor of the New Republic Senate Chamber, I hereby call this meeting adjourned.
Back on Korriban, in one of the lower battalion sectors, we find an old general drawing out his plans for a military deployment for the Sith forces under his command. This is Sith Lord Darth Tormentus, and he's about to get a most unexpected visit.
General Tormentus, forgive the intrusion, sir, but I have a Lord Nefarian here to see you. He is the Magistrate Supreme of the High Sith Tribunal.
I don't remember a meeting with any magistrates of the tribunal.
You'll forgive me for barging in on you like this, General. My inquiries will be brief.
See that they are, Lord Magistrate. I am in the middle of planning a counter-offensive near our Mustafarian theater.
Yes, I hear that those wretched Mandalorians have carpet-bombed a wide area of the southern poles and driven our marauder platoons back even further.
Did you come here to ask questions, Lord Magistrate, or to annoy me with your second-rate hearsay of battlefield assessment?
Of course not, General. You'll forgive my ignorance.
Out with it, Lord Nefarian. What is it you want?
A search of our data stream communications records show that you had quite a bit of contact with one Darth Atrocitan over an encrypted HoloNet channel within the past few months. Tell me, General Tormentus, just how intimately acquainted are you with Lord Atrocitan?
I have several far-reaching connections all throughout Korriban as well as the galaxy at large. Darth Atrocitan is simply one of my cogs in several wheels of communique that I correspond with.
What is the exact nature of your communication with the Grand Inquisitor, might I ask?
I am a general of the 3rd Sith Armada. I have communications with my lieutenants, battle strategists, replenishment officers, and yes, even Grand Inquisitors for a wide variety of topics. In case you haven't noticed, Nefarian, the Sith are in the middle of a war. Now I would implore you not to waste any more of my time, as I have a rather important battle campaign to oversee. Are we finished here?
But of course, General, I shall take my leave and let you get back to your planning. On behalf of the High Sith Tribunal, we thank you for your cooperation.
At that, Nefarian disappears back into the night as the previous field marauder approaches the General.
Begging your pardon, sir. What was that all about? Is everything all right?
Quite, soldier. Raise Darth Atrocitan on the HoloNet. I need to speak with him.
Right away, sir.
Blasted Atrocitan. Just what have you gotten me into?
A short while after the Senate's dismissal, Grandmaster Khan and Chancellor Javin are walking candidly amongst the upper hallways of the great senatorial chamber, discussing the day's meeting.
Things are growing quite contentious, Master Jedi. The delegates are getting extremely restless and worried, and I can't rightly blame them. Now, this war is threatening to spill out of control. It's nothing short of a miracle that we've been able to insulate the citizens from it thus far. But I don't know how much longer we'll be able to go on this way.
The Order is quite aware of everyone's concerns, and we're working to alleviate the strain of the conflict. But we cannot risk interference, Chancellor. It'd be far too dangerous.
Suddenly a voice from behind speaks up.
Be that as it may, Master, sooner or later something has to give.
What? Master Stahl, so considerate of you to sneak up on us like that.
My apologies, but I couldn't help but overhear. I sat in on the proceedings and I felt I needed to speak with you, Master Karn.
Oh, what about?
The young Chiss senator. I've given some thought to what she said. Is it possible, Master, that she may be onto something? Now, there are murmurings around the Outer Rim that Mandalore has gotten exceedingly formidable. Rumor has it that they may be on the cusp of even winning this war.
Master Stahl, we cannot afford to indulge every fanciful speculation that comes our way. Now, Senator Va is young. She's prone to all kinds of wild ideas. Besides, the Jedi have much more pressing concerns with protecting Republic citizens. Keeping everyone safe is my top priority.
Yes, of course, Master.
Well, good. Now, speaking of which, I'm glad I have you on one of those numerous intel assessment missions that I mentioned.
Well, yes indeed, Master. I'm due to leave for Ventooine in a few hours.
Well, good, Stahl. The Jedi High Council will be eagerly awaiting your report. Now, if you and the Chancellor will excuse me, I have a few more engagements to check in on. A good day to you both.
No rest for the weary, my friend?
Phew, don't you know it?
Indeed, indeed. It's always good to see you, Tadian.
Well, you as well, Chancellor. But by the Force. You know, I don't think I'll ever get used to calling you that. My goodness, I still can't believe it. Chancellor of the entire Galactic Republic. You have most certainly come a long way since your washout days in the Jedi Academy, I'll tell you that.
I simply found another way to serve, that's all. Now, I wasn't cut out to be a Jedi, so I figured politics was the next best thing, eh?
You always did have a way to lighten the mood, Devar, even back when we were younglings training back in the Jedi Temple, huh?
Well, loyalty, selflessness, friendship? What's all that without humor, I tell you? But you know what, all this talk of me, well, you haven't exactly been a slouch yourself, Jedi Master Tithian. What are you on your fourth successfully trained Padawan, are you?
Well, no, third actually. But I'll tell you, I've been very lucky. The Force has blessed me with 3 very gifted apprentices.
Well, yes, indeed. Well, let's see, there's Karthus, who's now a master in his own right with a reassignment council, and of course Dade, who just successfully entered knighthood. Then, of course, there was Crow, who served honorably all the way up until his death.
Suddenly, Storr slightly looks away at the mention of the name Crow.
Look at me. I'm sorry, Tadian. Forgive my callousness, my friend. I know the very mention of Crow stirs up strong emotions.
No, not a bit of it, Javin. There's no need to apologize. I consider Crow Tav to be one of my greatest accomplishments. He died a hero, sacrificing his life to save a contingent of miners on Datham 4. He embodied the Jedi ideals 10,000 times more than I ever could.
What? Speak of the devil.
At that moment, a handsome young Jedi Knight comes running up to the pair, slightly out of breath.
Well, Master. I'm so glad I caught up with you. Well, excuse me, Chancellor Javin. It's my honor, sir.
If it isn't the young Dade Windrunner. Why, we were just talking about you, lad. I can see those Jedi Knight senses are kicking in quite early, eh? Oh, by the way, I congratulate you on your knighthood, young man.
Oh, many thanks, Chancellor. But of course I couldn't have done it without Master Stahl's mentorship.
You don't have to keep calling me Master Dade. You're now a Knight of the Order, and by all rights primed to take a Padawan of your own.
Quite understood. But I heard about your intel assignment out in Ventooine, and I thought I'd ask permission to accompany you. I want to take up a more active role in civilian escort patrols, and the more I understand about what's threatening them, the better equipped I am to serve. So what do you say, Master?
Oh, well, I don't know, Dade. Something like this will probably need approval from the Council.
Worry not, Master Stahl. Leave it to me. I'll personally put in a word with the Jedi Council on your behalf.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Thank you, Chancellor.
Whilst I appreciate it, Devar, I don't know if...
Oh, come now, Tithian. The boy is eager to learn about the greater threats of the encroaching war. Well, who better to guide him than his old master, right?
What do you say, Master Stahl? It'd be like old times.
I suppose. However, you better get your stuff together in a hurry and meet me down at Docking Port 7A. I'll be leaving before the day is out.
You got it. You won't regret this, I promise you.
Storr simply gives Javin a telling stare.
No need to thank me whatsoever, my friend. Always happy to help.
Senator Staria Var returns back to her senatorial suite on the east side of Coruscant.
Don't worry, milady. I'm sure you'll be able to voice more of your concerns in 4 solar days when the Senate reconvenes.
I'm sure I will, Vesta, thank you. I should like to rest now.
Of course, mistress. Should you need anything, I will be right outside.
As soon as her handmaiden is out of sight, Staria dials in a very important contact, and a familiar image soon appears on her holograph matrix projector.
I thought I would check with you, my lord.
I'm glad you did, milady. I was anxious to hear your report.
I didn't manage to get much information. However, I did get him the Grand Master's skin a bit.
I would imagine that wouldn't have been too difficult. But what of your efforts to gain wider access into the Jedi archives?
Still working on it. Security clearance is proving formidable even for one of the ruling houses of the Chiss.
Well, keep me appraised of your progress, my dear, as I'm working on my own connections back here on Korriban.
As you say, my Lord Atrocitan. I desperately hope to see you soon.